let's go ahead and finish up piecewise functions. We've only got a couple problems left, and then I have a little activity I'm going to go ahead and have you work on. I'm going to put you in groups and have you guys turn that in before you leave today and give them off practice for the test tomorrow. So the test, you want to be looking at sets, intersections, unions, complements. Like, for example, what was a complement of a set? What did that mean? Okay, Alizé says anything that's not in the group, but still in the what? In the universe. There we go. Okay. Classifying numbers. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on the board. You'll notice on the back one and the front board, I've got the classification hierarchy that we have there. You'll have some domain and range, piecewise functions. That's pretty much, what to expect. Brandon? I'm sorry? We should have time as soon as we break for the activity. That way we don't have a lot to do. We should be able to finish pretty quick. Okay. And don't forget, tomorrow you can use your notes. So any homework assignment, your focus activities, the notes we actually take in class, you can use all of those. I would encourage you to take a look at your notes and make sure you know where everything is, just so you don't lose time tomorrow, flipping through all your materials if you're trying to find something. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. So we wrote a piecewise function for A. So this one was in the table. It was pretty straightforward. All right. Now it says B, evaluate the function to find the tax owed by a single person whose taxable income is $68,750. Okay. So what am I going to do? Basically what this is asking me is I want to evaluate this function T of 68,750. Okay, but there's one catch. Genevieve, do you see it? Do you see what I'm referring to? Like, what were you going to say? Close. Now, 68,750, it definitely falls in this third function, right? Between 65,000 and 125,000. So this is the one I want to use. But is there anything over in the table that we should be looking at? Anything we should kind of be drawing our attention to? That one column says amount over. Okay, so we are in this interval right here. That's true. But what we're going to substitute in is the amount over 65,000. Okay, so if I'm interested in 68,750, what am I going to do? There you go. He says I'm going to plug in 3,750. I took the difference. So 68,750, and I'm going to subtract the 65,000. So I'm plugging in 3,750. Okay. So it's little things like that. It's really easy to miss. You just want to be on the lookout for. Okay, now on the test, I haven't given you any word problems, no real world scenarios. I mean, it's just straight skill set. Okay, just dealing with these particular concepts. But let's see here. I'm going to take 0.24 times the amount of taxable income. So 0.24 times 3,750, and then I'm going to add the 11,500. Okay, so let's see what that gives me. 24% of the 3,750 plus the 11,500. Oh, nah, one too many zeros on there. All right, can anybody tell me what I'm going to get when I push enter? I'm sorry? Okay, probably going to have a decimal in there. Do we know what that value is, though? Okay, looks like a few folks grabbed calculators. Okay, well, hopefully if you're typing it in on your calculator, we should be getting 12,400, and sometimes this thing is floating. Okay, so we're actually good. Just $12,400. All right, is that what you folks are getting? Those ones who are typing it in? Okay, good. 12,400, and there's the decimal if we want to go ahead and add it to 0.00. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. Our last problem here. It says, in August, Orlando Utilities Commission supplied electricity to residents for a monthly customer charge of $8 plus 10.143 cents. Now, again, this is one of those problems that has something that's so simple you could miss it. Okay, the fact that it's giving you cents, that's going to be important in just a second. Per kilowatt hour for the first 1,000 kilowatts hours used in a month, and 12.143 cents per kilowatt hour for all the electricity over 1,000 kilowatt hours in the month. Okay, so this is our current problem. Current, because we're talking about electricity. There you go. Current problem. Okay, kind of a sly little joke right there. Hopefully now it makes sense. Kind of, yeah. All right. Hopefully by the end of the year I can change your mind about my sense of humor. A lot of times what happens is as I go through a lesson, like the first time, they just kind of pop in my head and I keep using them for the other classes. I don't. I really should be writing all these down. When I retire, they could be math jokes your teachers told. Oh my God, that's like a great title. I got to start doing that. Anyways. All right, so A, what's the charge for using 920 kilowatt hours in a month? Okay. Well, let's see. It's definitely not going to be on LPNL scale, for example, okay, especially in the summer months, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and break these down. A and B are kind of designed to go ahead and help us figure out how we're going to be calculating the amounts we're asked for, and that's going to be very useful to us when we create the piecewise function in part C. So no matter what, even if you don't use any kilowatt hours a month, you still have to pay what? The $8. Okay. That's the customer charge. So just being a part of this program, belonging to the company, you're going to charge $8. And let's go ahead and say C represents your cost based on X number of hours, kilowatt hours. Okay. And you create that however you want. But no matter what, you're paying $8 plus. Now, how many hours are we using? 920. So that's my value of X. Now, here's where it's really important that you think about the value. What am I going to multiply 920 by? Okay, the 10.143. This is what I was referring to. There's something we got to do. Okay, because it's in cents, right? So I have to move something. Not one. I got to move it 2 over. Because think about it, if I keep the decimal where it is in terms of money, how much is being charged per hour? It actually looks like $10. But we're talking about, it specifically gave that to me in cents. And when you're talking about currency, people go ahead and kind of confuse these a lot. Cent is the value of the penny. But typically we just go ahead and say pennies to represent the amount. But penny is the name of the coin. Okay. So I've got to multiply this by 0.10143. Okay. I'd want to move the decimal over. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge number. Yes?
Would it work if you just multiplied it by 10 and divided by 100?
Oh, yeah, because if you divide it by 100, that's going to move it over. So, yeah, if you remember to divide by 100 at the end, you could use the value they have there. Yes. Okay. So either way, Angel's absolutely right. Andre?
Did you know the pennies are basically have no value?
That's exactly right. In fact, I think it costs almost 2 cents to create a penny. Isn't it like 1.6 or 1.7 cents?
It's like 5 cents to create
Is it even higher now?
Yeah.
Wow. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've been on the bandwagon for a while now that I think we should just abolish the penny, round to the nearest nickel. In fact, a lot of countries have done that, and it's worked out nice. But the reason the U.S. is kind of reluctant to do that is because of our income tax service we have. It's so ridiculously complicated. Have any of you had the joy of filling out taxes yet? Oh, yeah, you know. All right. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. So let me document B out of here. So we had the $8 plus we had 920 kilowatt hours times the 0.10143 cents we're being charged per hour. Okay, or as Angel said, you could multiply it by the 10.143 as long as you remember to divide by 100 as soon as you get your answer. So let's see here. For 920 hours, looks like we're going to be paying $101 and I would say 32 cents. Okay, 101.32. Okay, 101.32. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Sound pretty straightforward? Okay. Now this one says, okay, what's the charge for 1,500 hours? Now this is where we're going to have to break up that 1,500 because we have a specific rate for 1,000 or less, and then if you go over 1,000, the rate increases slightly. Okay, so you're going to have to look at 1,500 in terms of 1,000 and 500. Okay, so no matter what, how much you charged just being part of this program? $8. So that's our beginning fee, like our standard fee. $8 plus. Now let's go ahead and look at the first 1,000. Up to and including the first 1,000 hours, you're only going to be charged 10.143 cents. So I'm going to multiply 1,000 times 0.10143. Okay, so that takes care of the first 1,000 hours. Or you could go ahead and do this. If I multiply that decimal by 1,000, well, what's it going to do to the point? Yeah, it's just going to move it over 3. So you could, if you really wanted to, just go ahead and kind of streamline it and say, okay, well, I know that that would be $101.43 for the first 1,000 hours. Okay, we just don't want to forget about the first 8, right? Okay. Now, plus, this is where that second rate comes in. All right. We have an additional 500 hours because we want 1,500 total. So 500 times this new rate, 0.12143. And just like before, I got to move that decimal over twice or divide by 100 as soon as we finish. Okay. So is everybody okay with how I reasoned my way through that? Okay. I got the first 1,000 hours at one rate, and then the additional 500 at the second rate. But we have the total 1,500 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and do this instead of typing in the first expression. 101.43 plus 8 would just be 109.43, right? Okay. So I'm going to do that. So 109.43 plus the 500, it always gives me an extra 0, times the 121.43. Is that what it was? Okay. All right. So I'd say we're looking at about $170 and 14 or 15 cents. I'd say 170.15. All right. So $170.15. Okay. Now, the last part is going to ask us to actually write a piecewise function describing the situation. So this B right here is really going to help us out. All right. Now, we're only going to have 2 intervals because remember, we only have 2 rates, right? The lower rate is if what? It's 1,000 or under. Okay. So let's go ahead and it says C in terms of X. So that's why I was already thinking C of X equals. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of room. I'm going to put these commas, and at the end is where I'm going to put my intervals. Right, Nathaniel? Right. Okay. These are my subdomains. This is where the value of X can survive. So for the first rate, we know that it has to be less than or equal to 1,000 kilowatt hours, right? But is there something else I would want to put there? Because what is less than 1,000? Everything. So it's not only those positives and 0, but you also have the negatives. So in a real world situation, we'd want to go ahead and cap that. Because is it possible to have negative kilowatt hours? Now, I mean, if it were, then they would be paying you, and that just doesn't make sense. So we're going to have 0 less than or equal to X. Genevieve, is that what you were going to say? Okay. Now the other one, you're charged that other rate if what? It's greater than 1,000. Now notice because this one already has the equality, we won't need it on the next one. It'll just be X greater than 1,000. Now, the first function, pretty straightforward. Okay. How much is it no matter what? $8 plus. Now, let's say X represents the number of kilowatt hours that we're using. So what am I going to multiply X by? The 0.10143. We want to multiply by the lower rate because this is where we're lower than 1,000, right? So I'm going to say 0.10143x. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and give you, let's say about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Try to come up with an expression using x that would give you the cost if you were over 1,000. Okay. And think about how we set it up in B. That's going to make it go a lot easier. And really, there's two ways we could write it, but we always want to simplify in mathematics. So I'll go ahead and kind of write it out with you, and then we'll go ahead and put what the simplified version is. That way, in case you have either, you still got it right. Anybody got any big plans for the 3-day weekend? Work?
Camping.
Oh, camping? Where are you going?
Trail Street, New Mexico.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. Who's working? Okay. Where do you work, Brandon? Oh, yeah? Okay. Andrea, where do you work? Really? Nice. You a waitress? Hostess? Okay. Cool. Very cool. All right. Brandon, did you raise your hand too? You work at Sonic? People are so mean. Oh. Oh. Do y'all have specials on Sunday or something?
Well, we always have early bird dinner.
Uh-huh.
But, they always come, right after church, and the book is like, yes, we have a party of 25. We want you to see this right now. The restaurant's full, and then they start yelling at us.
Yeah, I worked in the restaurant industry for 18 years. I don't know if you guys remember, there used to be a chain here in town called Home Plate Diner. I started out there a long time ago. I was in high school when I started working there. A long time ago. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we have here. So let's go ahead and work it out. We're looking for a number of hours over 1,000, right? So X doesn't even have to come in until I bring in that higher rate. So how much is it no matter what? $8. Okay. Plus, now with the lower rate, we don't have to worry about putting the X there. Because in this category, this interval, we're already over 1,000, right? So we have to believe at this point we have used 1,000. So I've used 1,000 hours times the 0.10143. Plus, now it's this last part that's really important. Okay. What's the rate? This is the 0.12143, right? But in terms of X, what am I going to multiply this by? Think about the 1,500 and what we did. Bell?
The leftover hours.
The leftover hours, that's right. So how do we get that? You have to subtract it. So I would multiply this by X minus 1,000. And isn't that exactly what we did just a moment ago? Because see, we already took care of the 1,000, and then we had to subtract 1,000 to know we had an additional 500 hours. Hello? Oh, hey. Okay. Leopold. Okay. Someone would like to speak to you for just a second. All right. So now, did anybody get that written out? Anybody kind of reason their way through? Did we get close? Kind of. Okay. Does it make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Now, like I said, in math, we always want to go ahead and simplify. So I've got the 8 plus. Well, multiplying by the 1,000 is going to move the decimal 3 places. So that would be... Okay. That would be $101.43. And we already saw that in the previous problem. Plus, okay, now, because this is a binomial, let's go ahead and distribute. 0.12143 times x would just be that product. 0.12143x. Okay. And then I'd want to go ahead and multiply the rate by a negative 1,000. So that's going to be minus, what would that be? 121.43. Okay. Well, we have some like terms. Help me out here. If I add 8 plus 101.43 and then subtract 121.43, what's that going to give me? Negative 20? No. Okay. Well, let's see here. 8 plus, oh, we're very close. 101.43 minus, what was it, 121? There we go. 121.43. There we go. It's going to give me minus 12. Okay. So this one had the x. So 0.12143 x minus 12. If I take the 8, the 101.43, and the negative 121.43, that gives me minus 12. So see, now knowing this function, if I do have a set number of hours, like if I wanted to know 2,000 hours, see, I don't have to do anything special now. I can plug the 2,000 right in there, and I can figure out how much it's going to cost. Okay, how we doing? All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you this piece of paper, because for the last part, I'm going to have you guys work this, and then we'll take a look at it right before you leave. Here we go. Right? Yeah, you want to go real fast? Okay. Pass is right there, sir. There's 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2. There's one for Brandon. There you go. And there you go. What's that mean? Say it one more time.
Calculator.
No, even, yeah, it says calculator not permitted, but I'm going to go ahead and allow it if you need it, okay? Because you're going to have the calculator on the exam tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about that. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and show you this. Okay, this is what I just passed out. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ball rolling. I'm going to start A with you, and then I'm going to give you the rest of the time, okay, in groups to go ahead and finish off the rest of it. Okay, work together, help each other out. This is really good practice for tomorrow's exam, because part B, you want to go ahead and sketch these functions on their given intervals, their domains. There's a problem on the test tomorrow where you have to do this for a piecewise function. Part D is where you have to find the domain and the range. Remember, there are 2 problems on the test tomorrow just like it. So this is going to be very useful to you. But I'm going to start out. There is a problem like this, where it gives you a piecewise function and it says, okay, find me this function notation. So let's say I want to find p of negative 3. What am I asking you to do? There you go. That's what we talked about the other day. All right. Whatever value of x you're given, look for the interval that it belongs to. Now, this one, it says be careful if they exist. If a value does not exist, explain why. So people are already saying negative 3 doesn't exist. But I see negative 3 right here and here. There you go. Neither one of those are included, so he does not belong to any of those intervals. So what would you say about this guy? He does not exist. So p of negative 3, I would just go ahead and say DNE, like does not exist. Or, I mean, if you didn't want to put that, you could put the 0 with a slash through it. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay. Now, can I say the same thing for p of 4? Okay, now p of 4 we can actually figure out. Okay. Which one does it belong? Yes, Genevieve. Yeah, just give me something like, why did we say that doesn't exist? That's exactly right. Okay. Negative 3 doesn't belong to any of those intervals. Just something very similar like that. Okay. Doesn't have to be anything huge, just enough for the justification. All right. So which interval does 4 belong to? The third one, okay. So 4 is going to belong here. So we have x minus 5 squared minus 5. So I'm just going to plug it in. So x minus 5 becomes 4 minus 5 squared minus 5. 4 minus 5. Negative 1. So negative 1 squared, 1, and then minus 5. Minus 4. Okay. All right. Now, before I go ahead and get you in your groups, is there anything about those functions you want me to help you out with? Like, could you tell me the vertex of this parabola? Okay, say it again, Angel. He says 5, negative 5. Perfect. Where would the vertex of the absolute value be? Very close. Why negative 6, 7? Remember, when you add or subtract, you take the opposite. Okay, very good. And you're only going to be graphing these on these intervals, the absolute value between negative 8 and 3. Remember, you're open and your closed circles. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Just a quick way of doing this. Every time I point to you, you're going to go ahead and say a number, but we're only going to go to 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Actually, I think that'll make the groups a little too big. How many people do we have here today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 21. Let's count through 7. That'll give me groups of 3. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I'll count you. We'll only go through 7. Whoever's 7, the next person will be 1, and we'll just go again. So, Rhett?
1.
4.
No, 1. Okay. But you are right. 1.
7.
Okay. So everybody remembers the number you said? Okay, so 1s, you want to get together, help each other out. 2s get together, 3s get together, and so forth. You can get together in a part of the classroom. If you want it to be maybe a little more quiet, if you feel that'd be beneficial, you can absolutely go out in the hallway. Okay. So we get out of here at 36. That gives us a good 15 minutes. Okay, so we can do this. All right, Genevieve. Do you have to work with your group? Okay. What number were you? 2? What are the 2s thing? You were a 2, right? Or was another 2? Jalen? I'm a big fan of cooperative learning. If you want to do it individually, I guess what I could do is Jalen and Lilybell, you could either just work together or maybe individually you could join a different group. Okay. But I mean, no. What's that? You want to do it by yourself as well? Okay. All right. Okay, how about this? I guess the group idea is kind of falling apart. Do you just want to work together? Work individually. Maybe if you want to work together, then you can get with somebody. Does that sound better? Let's do that. Let's do that. So I guess, okay, we'll forget about the groups, the thing. Yeah, go super fast. Okay. We're going to turn this in before you leave today. Right. All right.